2020 brought the rise of extremist groups in America. Now the Biden administration wants to expand the fight against domestic terrorism. One local man says the biggest weapon against extremism is conversation. New at 6, John Trainer has that story.
It's a top priority for the Biden administration, domestic terrorism. The president planning to expand grants from the Department of Homeland Security to study and prevent violent extremism. That, according to NBC News. If you think that extremism happens in far corners of the country, talk to U.S. Attorney Nicholas Trutanich, who was the man in charge during 4 arrests right here in our backyard.
These individuals were alleged, or have been alleged to have plotted to attack and incite a riot in the wake of the peaceful protests after George Floyd's death. They were going to attack law enforcement and they were going to attack protesters. And they were arrested by the FBI, Metro, Joint Terrorism Task Force, just miles away from those protests.
Trutanich is talking about the arrest of 3 members of the Boogaloo Boys and the arrest of Connor Klima, who pleaded guilty to possessing bomb-making materials. His alleged targets, an LGBTQ bar and a synagogue. It hits close to home for Larry Kupperman.
The night that he was arrested, I was attending Shabbos services over at Congregation Ner Tamid. So again, it was something that was near and important to me.
Kupperman lives in Henderson and volunteers with Beyond Barriers, a group that tries to help people leave extremist groups. He recently spoke about that effort with Rabbi Axelrod. He says conversations like this and a willingness to listen to all sides is how you can turn around the disturbing rise of hate in America.
I'm well aware that that many of the people that I want to address are going to either ignore me, that they won't hear anything that I have to say, or they will disbelieve me. They will think that what I'm saying is just all lies. But if I reach one, am I successful? If I were to stop one killing, would that be a success? My feeling is yes, it is.
John Trainer, News 3.
The COVID-19 pandemic has impacted African Americans at an alarming rate compared to other populations, and health experts say underlying health conditions play a major role in that. As part of our ongoing Black History Month coverage, tonight News 3's Gabby Hart is taking a look at the history of the African American diet and how it contributes to those health issues.
Fried chicken and fish, lots of pork, baked mac and cheese, potato salad. Don't forget the extra butter and heavy on the seasoning. The African American cuisine known as soul food dates back to slavery, when blacks were given merely scraps to survive on.
Where they're taking European foods and actually improving them.
Tyler Perry is an African American history professor at UNLV. He notes that soul food plates also consist of healthy dishes like rice and beans, Southern-style green beans, and collard greens. And he says for the inventors of soul food, these high-calorie meals served a purpose.
But if you look at the way a rural sharecropper would have to live, that type of high-calorie content would have been necessary in order to produce the work and the labor requirements that people labored under within that time.
But now in the 21st century, many African Americans still consume a diet high in fat and sodium, which plays a key role in the number of underlying health conditions.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, obesity.
Mickey Mezarowski is a local dietitian. She says we saw firsthand during the pandemic how COVID-19 impacted people suffering from these conditions and how the virus caused a higher hospitalization and death rate among African Americans. Both she and Perry also noted that food deserts, meaning the intentional lack of access to healthy foods or grocery stores within Black communities, is a continuing issue.
Redlining in this process of urbanization really set the Black diet up for failure.
It is a huge problem that we have in this country.
So what is the solution?
The foods that you're eating now, just see how you can make those plant-based.
Stacey Dugan, founder and head chef at Simply Pure Vegan Cafe in downtown Las Vegas, says education and diet diversity are the first steps.
If you have fried chicken, for example, try cauliflower instead. Batter it the same way, you can fry it the same way, but instead of chicken, it's cauliflower, because people really want the taste and the texture of food. You don't have to go plant-based overnight or vegetarian overnight, but if you can take a Monday, for example, and make it a meatless Monday.
In Las Vegas, I'm Gabby Hart, News 3.
All the side effects that I was hearing about were flu-like symptoms, things like that. Those are the kind of side effects I was preparing for.
Karen Long, a middle school teacher with the Clark County School District, received her second dose of the Pfizer vaccine last Friday. But as she went to bed that night,
my armpit just started hurting like really, really bad. Like there was a lot of pressure and it was really tender and sore.
Long, at 50 years old, knew swollen lymph nodes to be a symptom of breast cancer, causing anxiety to kick in. But through research and conversations with fellow teachers, she quickly learned she was not alone.
We know that you can get a response of swelling in your lymph nodes to vaccines in the past, and that's really your body responding appropriately.
General Surgeon Jennifer Carroll with Southern Hills Hospital is telling women not to be alarmed. Swollen lymph nodes is a documented side effect from the vaccine clinical trials. The reaction can be seen after both the first and second dose and also occurs in men. The condition usually resolves within 10 days of getting the vaccine. Still, routine mammogram screenings can be a concern for women who received a COVID-19 vaccine.
So while some women may actually feel these lymph nodes just themselves, even more women, this could show up on your mammogram and could be an abnormal finding that is not concerning for a breast cancer, but more so a concern just because you had your vaccine.
As a result, the Society of Breast Imaging issued new recommendations this week asking women to schedule mammograms either before getting the vaccine or 4 weeks after their second dose. But for those who have not received a vaccine and find a lump under the armpit, Dr. Carroll says don't wait.
If you actually notice a lump within the breast itself, any skin changes, any drainage, anything that seems abnormal, that's always something worth speaking with your doctor about.
In Las Vegas, Alexis Gorey, News 3.